One way we like to communicate with you is through some resources we give you. So the DSA track athlete resources here have available to you the schedule. So practice schedule, meet schedule, and then some forms and available to you. The records are available to you. Some of the websites that you can find results. The handbooks are listed there for you. So there's quite a few things in here that are available to you. Again, another link that I'm providing through email. I did want to click on this one though to show you what the track practice meet schedules look like. This is really a useful resource for families. You can see ahead what's on there and what's coming up throughout the weeks of track all the way through May and when the state track meet's running. And then on the right you've got the meets themselves, and you can see the combination of practices there, the days that we don't have practice when we're going to Anson Sports Complex, and so you can see those ahead of time. The practice A's and B's, those are really just the style of practice. Remember we talked about how we do alternate styles of workouts to try and help with recovery and improve and progress, and so you will see that in our A and B practices. 2 stars really just mean that there's a meeting that day, so you can see all that. The final thing I want to talk about in communication is just that track meet registrations are due before track meets happen, so that when we send a registration, we cannot change athletes and events. So if you do not communicate in absence before we put you in the track meet, then that's an empty slot that we could put somebody else that we can't any longer. So it's very important to communicate ahead of time when absences might occur. We understand illnesses, but if you have a planned family event going on that you could communicate ahead of time, it does affect the team if you're not communicating those ahead of time. Okay, some important dates. We have our first practice on the 30th. It will be just high school for the first week of track, and then we will mix in the middle school. And middle school has their own schedule of rotations. We have additional coaches to help with middle school. There are a few things that we might do together. We just the way the schedule's set up, we do take advantage of coaches that know the events teaching the events, and so they'll be coaching both middle school and high school throughout the day. But it would be like high school, if their high school group is in the weight room, we're coaching middle school, so it's not necessarily a combination of the two together. On the 8th of February, that's our first Anson visit, so you need your sheet in by then. Our first track meet is the 13th already. That's a preseason track meet, but want to get you ready and going right away. We have a tentative date for the 20th. We just need to do a meeting to confirm that. But Palmer Trinity, we've reached out to Palmer Trinity, and they've said they'll host, and that's the best date that they have available. So we're anticipating that as the district. Okay, I'd like to go through frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions for the track season before the track season begins is, what do you bring to practice? So bring PE clothes like shirts and shorts. We wear those throughout the entire practice. You can bring training shoes for regular days. If you'd like to bring spikes to Anson, I don't think they mind that. Bring a water bottle to practice as well. We don't use phones during track practice. Phones aren't available throughout the practice either. Distance runners, it is advantageous to have a watch so we can keep track of certain times you're running. And so I have one of those available. You'll see as the season gets going as to why that's important. If I'm part of a sports club, can I still join? Just keep in mind that we do keep a strict attendance policy. So if your practice is overlapped and you're not coming to track practice, you're more than likely not going to be allowed to continue. And then this is something we emphasize each year, and we'll emphasize it again. Remember that we design our practices so that there are recovery in them. And if we're overloading you one way and you go to your workout with a sports club and you're not getting that recovery time that we've built into our schedule, overload plus overload does not equal progression. Overload plus more overload equals injury, and we don't want to see that. So we don't necessarily encourage both an additional workout as well as our workout in the same time. So if that's something you can balance and something you can talk to your parents about and you're comfortable with, we're not going to keep athletes on clubs like this from being part of the team, but it is something that we warn against. If I'm in the DSA sport right now, how do I join? So if you're in a winter sport, then we ask you to continue your season. You're in that sport and we want to see you go all the way. So we're going to keep cheering you on through your district, regional, and state run. When that comes to an end, though, we talk about like a 1 week recovery, and that's different from athlete to athlete. So really, we want to give your body a rest between seasons if it needs the rest. And so that's something we'll communicate with you. Maybe you come to practice, but we just kind of we start to slowly work you into workouts and things like that, so that we can get you into track meets as soon as possible, because that is one thing that's difficult if your season goes long, that you might miss the first couple track meets. How long do track meets go? Do we stay to the end? So weekdays, it is about 4 or 5 hours. Weekends a little longer for track meets. And events, you have to think about the events you're in. If you're an alternate for a relay, you have to balance that with what the team is expecting of you and what family is expecting of you, so that if you can stay, we'd love to have you. There's so many people to cheer on, even past your events. Some of those meets, that final race when everybody can cheer, is just a really sweet atmosphere. If you could do it, awesome. If there are other obligations, we understand. Do I need to purchase special track shoes? It does depend on your event. Sometimes shoes are more important for your event than others. If you want to talk to your coach at the start of the season about that might be best. You'll see athletes with and without spikes in certain events for the track, and so that's that's kind of a case by case thing for athlete. But spikes are shown to help in certain events in particular. So where can I find the calendar, forms, and etc.? Oh, quick before, spike shoes do have a specific length too, which is mostly 1/4 inch for track season. And so there's a lot to talk about with shoes, just to make sure that you're not wearing the wrong spikes and things like that. Where can I find the calendar form and all that? Just remember your resource page, which I'll share with you. Okay, so what next? Now that you've gotten a lot of information about the season, feel free to go back over this and look over what's here, and then make sure the EL2, EL3 forms are done. That is a big requirement in order to practice. I have a water bottle, shirts and shorts and shoes ready to go for the first practice on the 30th. Watch closely for emails from the coaches, because we'll keep you updated and try and get you as prepared as possible for that first week of practice. Expect a team meeting right away. We like to start the season meeting together, so we'll meet in a designated area. We'll be specific on that the closer we get to the season, and then make sure you email coaches with any additional questions. All right, this is it for me, Coach Ross, head of boys track. Coach Davison had a girls track. There are emails in case you have questions after looking at all this. And thank you very much. The dedication that you guys put in, parents as well, we are incredibly thankful to be given the gift of your athlete throughout the season. We get the benefit of watching them grow, and that is a true blessing to us. So thank you, athletes, too, for showing so much interest in the season this year. We are so looking forward to having you guys and having an awesome season together. So Lord's blessings on the time in between, and stay tuned. Keep track of emails. Shoot me emails if you're not getting them, and we'll make sure you're part of that list so that you're getting all the information you need for the start of the season.